Hey guys, Mac Lake here from Launch Network, and today I have Casey Graham from the Change Group joining me. And Casey has been joining us here in Atlanta for one of our launch events today, and training a group of our pastors on financial stewardship and financial leadership for their church. And so Casey, I wanted you to join us today because what you shared in today's session was just phenomenal. I saw the guys leaving with fresh ideas, fresh hope,
That's good,
and
yeah.
fresh enthusiasm about finances, which you don't find pastors excited about that aspect of the ministry many times.
No, you don't.
Yeah. So, Casey, the thing I appreciate about you is you bring such a different perspective on finances to pastors. And when you talk about finances, you make it so practical. You make it seem doable and achievable.
That's
and
right.
I really appreciate that in you.
Thanks.
And I want you to share some things with us today, but before you share some of those specifics, Casey, what are you seeing out there among pastors and churches? You know, with today's economy being so tough, what are some things you're seeing in pastors and their struggles today?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of pastors that I'm seeing is that they just think that it is the way it is. So my church finances are just going to be what they are.
Yeah.
And I'm in this area of the country, we may have low unemployment, or I'm in this area of the country, and you know, the thoughts of the economy, or they're reaching unchurched people, and so they just think, well, my finances are going to be the way they are because I'm reaching unchurched people.
Right.
And so I'm seeing a lot of that out there, and I'm seeing there's a few who get it on the other side and go, you know what, it's not about the situation I'm in, but it's about what I think. And they change their thinking, and they start actually take the complexity of big systems and all that stuff out and just do simple things, not new things, simple things that all of us pretty much intuitively know how to do, and do them and actually apply them. And so you said, you know, keep it doable. That's what we're finding, is it's not new stuff or new theory. It's just doing oftentimes what we already know to do.
Yeah, you know, it's fascinating because I think you're right, it's so doable, but one of the things that's blocking so many pastors, I think, is the excuses. You listed a couple of them there.
Yeah.
Well, we just come up mentally, we probably don't write them down or even say them out loud,
Yep.
but we come up with this list of excuses of why our church
Yep.
is struggling financially, so we really don't do anything about it, when really there's some practical steps.
There are.
And that's what I wanted you to share. You've got 5 engines to financial growth.
Yep.
I forget exactly how you title it.
Growth engine.
Growth engine.
There you
go. Could you share that with us and just talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's just 5 things that we talked about this morning with these pastors, and did you notice that they were all shaking their head like,
Yes.
yes. And we'll just jump into a couple of them. The first one is personal financial ministry. And what that is helping people personally with their money, whether it be spending, debt, savings, giving. I mean, there's only those 4 things you can do with your money. And oftentimes as a church, we think about the giving component, and that's what we speak toward. But what we're seeing is the churches that take their time and slow down and actually educate their people about personal finances, something that everybody in their church wants to know. You know, because people say, oh, people don't want to hear about money. Well, they want to hear about their money.
Right. Yeah.
They want more money.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
what they care about that.
Yeah.
And so to help them care about help them get what they want. I heard it said, help enough people get what they want and you'll get what you want.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of thing of helping people with their personal finances.
I heard you say something in that session today. You said a lot of churches have financial classes, but they don't have a financial ministry.
Yeah.
That was powerful.
Yeah, well, because a lot of people have a one-shot, well, we did this curriculum and it worked or it didn't work.
Right.
And they offer it one time a year or randomly. We're finding that the biggest barrier, the biggest hindrance to personal financial ministry is just consistently offering something.
Right.
And having somebody who cares about it instead of it being just a one-off thing that you did one time, because it actually inoculates your people.
Yeah.
Because they go through it once and they think they're done, even if it doesn't change their life.
And there's
so
probably
you
people in churches that would be willing to serve as financial coaches. And
they're all the different levels. The same thing you would do in any other. It's so funny. It's just the same thing
Any
you would
other
do in
ministry?
small groups and volunteer teams and all this kind of stuff. Just applying that to the financial realm. So that's the first one I would say that somebody listening to this could just focus on that. Focus on it, you know, in the new year especially, and it's something that can be super helpful.
Excellent. What's another one?
Another one's digital giving. In my life, I automate the important. And I automate the things that need to be automated. So, and people go, well, I like to, is that taking God out of it if you automate your giving online or this, that, and the other? And I'm like, no, it's actually putting him first, because it's a system that manages, I may forget the checkbook, or we, go out of town, and you have vacations, and I travel for a living, so I do different stuff. It just manages it to where we're absolutely faithful because it's automated and it comes out consistently.
Right.
And so helping people in your church give online through a website that's simple, that has recurring giving, and ask your people, say, I would like 100 people today to sign up for recurring giving, and what that'll do is it'll help you beat your summer slump. And
Wow.
it'll take the slump. You're not going to beat it totally, but it can take the slump out a little bit.
The thing you said in the session today, I loved. You said, you can't stop people from going on vacation, but you can stop their wallet from going on vacation.
Absolutely. So we just, we know people are going to, and here's the thing, pastors think that people don't care about giving in the summer and all that. It's not that they're bad people or they don't think, they just forget.
Right.
Just forget. And then they overspend and they don't have it and they don't make it up. And so help them on the front end. You're helping them follow Jesus.
Yeah.
It's a discipleship thing.
That's great.
Yep.
What's number 3?
High capacity donor development. High capacity donor development. And what was shocking was in the room when we broke people out, that was one of the biggest breakouts that people went to. So people obviously are wanting to know, how do you do this? And what we mean by that is connecting with people who have the capacity to give, and maybe the spiritual gift of generosity, and to give tremendous amounts of money to kingdom work. And that's what we're talking about. And we see that churches, they either do one of 3 things. They either use people, and so when I have a project coming up, they talk to them and they, invite them to their house and all that, but then that goes away. And so they use them for something. It's a means to an end. That's what the meeting is. They ignore them. A lot of pastors say, James 2 says, don't show favor and all that, to people. And so we're scared that we're going to show favoritism, so we just ignore them. That's what a lot of pastors do. But there's unintended consequences for that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. They feel ignored.
Oh, yeah.
They do. And high capacity people love unique experiences and unique environments and that kind of thing. And so to ignore them, there's consequences that come with that too.
I heard somebody say that silence, if you're silent about finances as a leader in your church, that is deadly. To the financial future of your church.
I totally agree. And what we suggest is to develop them. And some practical things you can do is just get your assistant. If you don't have an assistant, you do it. Schedule a lunch a month. Anybody listening to this can schedule one lunch a month with somebody in the top 10% of their giving base and build relational equity with them. Because if you have equity, you can make an ask. But most of us run on 0 and we go in the negative and people get mad and leave our church and we wonder why.
Right. Excellent. Okay, number 4.
Yeah,
what's number 4?
Making a financial ask through preaching. Doing a vision initiative series one time a year where you clarify, guys, here's what the next 12 months looks like. And here's what our regular operational budget is. We can't accomplish the things that we want to accomplish. We want to start a campus, or we want to hire this position, or we want to send this mailer out. We want all this stuff that we're sitting there going, man, if we had more money, we wish we could. Well, you can. If you do a 4-week vision initiative series and you talk to people and you help them with personal vision for their life, and then you talk about the vision of your church and provide clarity for a year. It's simple. You just set 3 to 4 objectives and ask people to give over and above what they're currently giving. And so if somebody's not giving, say, hey, I just want you to start. Right. If they're tipping, I want you to be consistent. And if they're consistently faithful, you ask them to give over and above. It's not difficult. It's just doing it. And that's a reproducible system. You can do that year after year. Yeah. Doing a campaign, you can't do year after year. I mean, it's just campaign fatigue.
Right.
You can't do all that energy with your staff and everything. But that you can do year after year.
Excellent. All right, you said there's a 5th one, 5th final one.
Yeah, it's a step-by-step communication system. It's just actually planning out how you're going to communicate with people who give in your church.
Okay, give me an example of that.
Well, it's real simple. I would do 3 things. I would use the mail. Direct mail works. It works. We think it doesn't work, and we think, oh, it's just clutter in the mail. It is, if your mail looks like everybody else's mail. So do direct mail that doesn't look like there's A, which is junk, and then there's everything else, which is pile B. Figure out how your mail can be in pile B, and communicate with your donors through the mail. Every other nonprofit in the world seems to figure this out, but as churches, we just don't do it. So we suggest quarterly contribution statements of what people have given quarterly. Even if they've given 0, send them something. Everybody in your database.
Wow.
And put a vision letter in there and make an appeal, not just an update.
That's the other thing you said today too that was so good. You said send them a vision letter, not so much a record of the past, but where you headed.
Yeah. I mean, updates. When I quit working full time on a church staff, I started realizing it's not that I don't love my church and think about it and all that kind of stuff, but I don't think about it near as much as you do as a pastor or care about it. You just don't. You just live your life, and people in our churches they're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. They have kids and ball games. They're not waking up thinking about all this stuff. So send them something that grabs their attention. Like we talked about, a headline might be, "This will affect your children." And share about your children's ministry. Well, they'll read that.
Yeah.
But they're not just going to read, "Oh, well, we did this, and this, and just a list of things that you did last year." Few will, but you want to reach the masses.
Yeah.
Another one is just an online pipeline. I would just take a flip video camera or some little video, off an iPhone, film the lead pastor, give them an update, a 2-3 minute update, and send an email out to them and update them, your consistent donors. And then the third thing I would say is that you've got 52 opportunities. This one I just want to jump out of my seat. We have 52 opportunities a year to connect with people in our worship services. Plan your offering time of what you're going to say, because any other nonprofit in the world, if they had 52 opportunities to talk to their donors, they would be super strategic. We take it for granted that we have that opportunity.
Right.
And I would use that not just to get money out of them, but to help them understand God's heart on money.
Man, that's excellent. Casey, great stuff. So practical, so helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you're doing for the kingdom.
Thank you.
And guys, you can get more of Casey. Casey has a ton of free stuff on his website. It's caseygraham.org. Make sure you go there and check it out and connect with him. He has a heart for pastors. He loves pastors. He wants to add value to you. So make sure you get to know this guy.